Hi everybody, it's Kathy Cassidy and I'm about to read you chapter 11 from Love from Lexie. A different chapter every day and hopefully we will get through the story and it's going to cheer us up a little bit in this isolation lockdown thing. And today I thought I would start slightly differently. I wanted just to give a very quick hello to a few friends and readers that I know are listening. So first of all, my best friends, Sheena in Galloway and Helen in Coventry, and lovely Doreen, who's in isolation in Liverpool. And then there's Jan in Middlesbrough and Jan in Birkenhead, all the Jans, Hilary in Liverpool, Geordie and Gretchen in Kent, and Jinky and her daughter who are listening in the Philippines, and Laura, who is listening in West Kirby and who is a big fan of Dogs on Wheels, as I am. You can kind of see one of my collection in the background. Yeah, and anybody else really who's listening along. I know there's people sending me messages and I'm not always sure who they are, but if you would like a shout out, just leave me a message, drop it in the Facebook link or on the YouTube link, and I'll do my best just to say hello, because if it helps, that's great. So in the last chapter, Lexie had got really emotional and she was tapping into all those feelings, all the things she felt when her mum went missing all that time ago. And she's used all those feelings to write a really emotional, quite powerful song lyric for Marley and the band. So the song's called Back Then, and I'm going to read you the lyrics so you get an idea of what she came up with. And it's called, Back Then. I used to be a nomad child. They said I was a little wild, nothing I wouldn't dare to do because I was with you. I used to be so many things back then. And then the chorus. The stars are flung across the velvet sky, like broken glass, like broken dreams. I think the stars can hear me cry, or that's the way it seems. I used to be so many things, used to want to spread my wings. I thought the world was all for me. Nothing I couldn't be, nothing I couldn't do back then. And then the chorus again. Nothing that I couldn't do, but nothing I believed was true. Please tell me why you went away, why you thought that I should stay, why it had to end that way back then. And the chorus again, and then the last verse, which is, I can't remember how it was, I can't remember it because I daren't look back, I'll stay on track, won't think about the life I had back then. And then the chorus and fades away. So, quite powerful. And we'll find out maybe what Marley and the band think of it in chapter 11, which is called Band Practice. So here we go. I'm miles away in a different time, a different place. I'm watching the big library bus draw up in the village square back when we lived in the cottage in Scotland. I remember running up the steps, racing to the end of the bus where the children's books were. Oh, this one was my favourite too when I was your age, Mum had said as she sat down beside me on a beanbag. The tiger who came to tea. She scooped me up on her lap and I snuggled close. I could smell her sweet vanilla scent, feel the warmth of her breath on the back of my neck as she read out the story. You okay, Lexie? Bex is asking, and I snap back to the present. Yeah, sure. We head into the library, a motley crew of mismatched kids lugging a drum kit, keyboards, and assorted other instruments. Miss Walker, the librarian, seems distant, distracted and anxious. Her poodle print skirt and scarlet twin set seem out of place today, and though she raises a half-hearted smile and brings us a tray of hot chocolate and cookies, I can see that something is very wrong. What's up, Miss W? Bex asks, direct as always. Has something happened? Miss Walker puts a finger to her lips and gestures across the library, where two men in suits are noting things down on clipboards. A visit from the council, she whispers. An audit, whatever that is. No warning, and I'm sure it's nothing to worry about, but on top of all that talk about cuts and consultations, those two have got me spooked. Won't have a cup of tea, won't chat with the library users, don't want to see the figures. The men in suits look sulky and sour, but I'm sure Miss Walker is worrying over nothing. They can't do anything anyway, I say. People love this library. Of course they do, Bex agrees. Don't worry, it'll be okay. But Miss Walker doesn't seem convinced, and I think Bex is remembering the way Milford Park Academy closed its library over the summer holidays last year quietly and without discussion. It doesn't always matter how many people care about something. Sometimes it just comes down to numbers on a spreadsheet, balancing books and making savings. We have the highest footfall of any of the local libraries in Milford, the highest book traffic, Miss Walker says. That should be in our favour. But these guys won't talk about that. They've been taking photographs of the damp patch on the wall over there and photographs of the window frames. They do need replacing, but we manage. This library was built in the 1920s and it hasn't fallen down yet. Maybe they're planning a renovation, I suggest. New windows and a damp-proof course. In our dreams, Miss Walker says. Bex is right. It will be okay, I insist, looking around the place. I mean, just look. Parents and toddlers are sitting on brightly coloured cushions, reading picture books. School kids are browsing the children's section. Adults of all ages and varieties are wandering among the shelves of fiction and non-fiction, and every computer in the place is being used. On a central table, the Thursday Knit and Natter group is in full swing. 5 elderly ladies drinking tea and knitting rainbow squares to make a quilt for Syrian refugees. And then there's us, the noisy teenagers setting up for band practice in the community meeting room. It's pretty much the perfect library, but Miss Walker still looks worried. Are we still all right to practice? Bex checks. The noise won't be a problem, will it? With those blokes here? Miss Walker sighs and dredges up a smile. Oh, Bex, Lexie, you kids go right ahead, she says. That's what the community meeting room is for. I don't know what that pair are up to, but they're not going to stop us from doing what we're supposed to do. Take no notice. We won't be too noisy, I say, although I think that perhaps we will. We only have one busking amp between us. We'll try and keep it down. That promise gets broken straight away. It's absolute total chaos. 11 musicians and 1 tech guy squashed into a small room with a drum kit, a keyboard, 2 guitars, a flute, a trumpet, a cello, and a mic and a busking amp too. It was never going to be easy. At least on Monday, people took it in turns. This time, we're attempting to play together, and it's a nightmare. People are tuning up, chatting, breaking into groups of 2 or 3 to play favourite songs. At one point, we have Nirvana's Smells Like Teen Spirit going up against Good Riddance by Green Day and Jolene by Dolly Parton. It's all kind of traumatic, and I peer through the window of the meeting room door in case Miss Walker has changed her mind about the noise. But all I can see is her candy pink beehive nodding slightly in the distance as she talks to the 2 guys in suits. I turn back to the band. Marley is exasperated too, but unlike me, he's a natural leader, waving his arms and yelling above the cacophony. You're a shambles, he roars as the racket crashes to a halt. Focus, I need you to listen and think. Listen to this and get the shape of it in your head. Get the story, the feel of it. Think about where your instrument could add to it, okay? Everybody nods. He starts to play guitar, and Sasha, pink-faced, begins to sing the words I've written. I know Marley sent her the rough-cut recording I made of the song, and I cringe thinking of Sasha listening to my imperfect voice mapping out the song. It still feels so personal to me, and now she's singing out for everyone in the band to hear. I can hear that she's been practicing, though, stepping inside the lyrics and giving them a sweet, clear clarity. I feel like someone has peeled my skin back and exposed my insides in all their painful, messy glory. Whatever made me think I could drag my feelings up and share them with the world. Sasha's voice swoops and soars, playing games with my heart. Marley's haunting guitar riffs and his brother's steady drum backing underpin all of it. When the sound dies away, I dare to look up and I notice Happy has tears in her eyes, and Romy has a hand over her mouth, and Jake is looking at me as though he has never quite seen me before. The others look transfixed too, silent and respectful. Awesome, man, Lee says, the trumpet boy. Beautiful, Samir agrees. Just tell us what you want us to do. So Marley does. He instructs Lee to work up a short, soulful trumpet intro, gets Samir to create a light, piercing keyboard piece to open each verse, and tasks Bex with helping to build up a richer sound with her bass guitar. Happy, Romy and George are charged with ramping up the emotion on each chorus, and Sammy has the job of linking the verses and chorus with some fluty stuff. Chuck in some tambourine, Marley says to me, like on the rough cut, okay? And once we've got all that in place, I want you and Romy to try some harmonies. You both have decent voices. One more time. We run through the song again, trying to add all of that in, but it's too much to keep on top of, and we descend into chaos once more. I'm panicking because it all sounds grim, but Marley takes it in his stride and decides to break things down a bit. He gets Lee working on the intro and Happy, Romy and George on their section, while Samir runs through her keyboard piece over and over, and Sammy sits on the edge of it all, face still and guarded, playing something so beautiful on the flute that I get shivers. Romy and I work out some basic backing harmonies, and then Romy switches back to violin, working up her part with Happy and George. Slowly it comes together. Marley gets Dylan and Bex to play the song through with him and Sasha, then they run through it again with Lee's trumpet and my tambourine. It takes a few tries to get the timing right, but we're all grinning at how awesome it sounds. Next, Samir adds her keyboard piece, and we go over that so many times I think I lose the will to live, but it falls into place and sounds like something cool. Backing vocals, Marley yells, and Romy and I step up to the mic and add our harmonies. And it actually works. Sammy comes in with the flute, and Marley adds Happy and Romy on violin and George on cello. And we plough through it all so many times I start to hate this stupid song. But after a while, it comes together once more, sounding glorious, in a slightly rough around the edges way. As the last chords fade away, Marley rakes a hand through his fringe, grinning. Sasha looks exhausted but jubilant, and the rest of us are just plain knackered and slightly disbelieving, hardly daring to accept that we've gone from chaos to discipline in just 2 hours. I think we have a band, Marley says, and I think we have a sound. You're amazing, all of you. The practice breaks up and we pack up and haul away our stuff. As usual, Happy, Bex and I are last, fussing over the chairs, tidying away a stray crisp packet, rinsing the hot chocolate mugs at the sink in Miss Walker's office. It's past 7 and the main library lights are off. I can just see Miss Walker quietly stacking shelves in the half-light over by the children's section. We're off now. Thanks, Miss W, Bex shouts, and the librarian raises a hand to wave faintly. Thank you, I call, but as Miss Walker turns towards me, I see that her cheeks are wet with tears, and the warm spring evening feels suddenly cold. Oh, so something not good is going on, even though the band is starting to come together. So tune in tomorrow and you can find out what that might be and what Lexie can do about it. So take care, all of you. I hope you're still managing to find something to smile about each day. Don't forget to check out my Dreamcatcher Reader blog, because there's lots of supportive stuff to help you in lockdown starting to appear, and you might even want to contribute and write something for it too. But until then, take care and I'll see you tomorrow.